No, because Ousmane Dembele had everything: the speed, the skill, the contract, the hype, and his brain just kept saying no, and honestly that should terrify you. We're talking about a guy who at 20 years old became the most expensive teenager in football history. Barcelona paid €135 million for him. 135 million. And then he spent the next 5 years getting injured, showing up late to training, and being so inconsistent that even his biggest fans had to look away. But here's what nobody's actually talking about. This wasn't just bad luck or bad attitude. Neuroscientists have a name for what happens inside certain elite athletes' brains, and it is genuinely unsettling. It's called a dysregulated reward system, and it basically means your brain is wired to sabotage the very thing you're chasing. So here's how it works. Your brain runs on dopamine, the chemical that fires when you anticipate a reward. For most people, structure and discipline trigger that system. But for some high-sensation brains, routine literally feels like punishment. Dembele's whole life pattern, the late nights, the video games until 4 a.m., missing training sessions, the chaos, that's not laziness. That is a brain that is genuinely understimulated by everything that should matter. And that's the dark part. But that's not even the strangest part. Studies show that athletes with this neurological profile often perform their absolute best under crisis, like the games where everything is on the line and the pressure is suffocating. Sound familiar? Because Dembele in a World Cup?
Elite.
Dembele in a random La Liga Tuesday?
Gone.
His brain needed the emotional stakes to even switch on, and that is a feature, and also catastrophically a bug. Now connect this to the bigger pattern, because this isn't just Dembele. Ronaldinho, Adriano, Robinho, generational talents who hit a ceiling they had no right hitting. Meanwhile, Messi, Ronaldo, Lewandowski, guys with slightly less raw flash, just kept ascending.
Why?
The difference is something called interoceptive regulation, your ability to read your own body's stress signals and self-correct. Players who dominate long-term have almost obsessive internal discipline systems. Their brains are literally built different in the prefrontal cortex. Dembele's hamstring injuries alone, he tore them so many times doctors got suspicious. And here's the thing. Chronic muscle injuries in athletes with high arousal-seeking behavior are directly linked to cortisol dysregulation from poor sleep and lifestyle. His body was keeping score. So was Dembele a cautionary tale or just a victim of his own wiring? Because you cannot fully blame someone for a nervous system they were born with. But you can ask why the system around him, the clubs, the coaches, the agents, never actually fixed it. The wild ending to this story is that at PSG, something quietly clicked. He became one of Europe's most consistent attackers. Same brain, different environment, which means the neuroscience was never a death sentence. It just needed the right conditions to stop fighting itself. And that is the real lesson here. Wasted potential isn't always about character. Sometimes it's about a brain screaming for something nobody around it understood how to give. That's low-key the most haunting thing I've learned this week. Subscribe if you want more deep dives that actually explain the why behind things, and tell me in the comments, do you think Dembele was let down by the system, or did he let himself down?